I don't know what's happening today, but it's going to be chaos. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mile and this is Mile Bookshelf. How you doing? Are you feeling gorgeous today? Yeah? Because you are. Any guess what we're gonna read? Was that too much? I had a lot of coffee. My system is wired right now. I need to take it down a notch. Today we're going to be reading Hello Beautiful by Ann Napolitano. I'm not sure what to expect out of this book, except that it's very popular right now. It's one of the most popular books that have come out in 2023. I'm very excited and I'm very afraid. Apparently, people with good taste in books like it a lot. And I'm afraid because if I don't like it, what does that say about me? Is this channel over so soon? Hopefully not. It's about a man, William Waters, the main character. Apparently, he grows up in a very dark home. Not because they ran out of light, they didn't pay their bills. Not because of that. You're going into this book thinking that William Waters is to blame. As a kid, he apparently did something that changed his family. It was bad, and not even his parents seem to love him. The thing is that William grows up, he goes to college, and he meets a girl. Her name is Julia Paravano. She's a free-spirited girl. She's everything he's never seen, and he falls in love. Julia apparently has sisters. William meets Julia's family, and he's like, I love this family. And apparently something from William's past surfaces. They don't tell us what it is, but it's going to change everything. It has almost 400 pages and it's a big book. Like, look at this thing. It's big. About the author section. It has nothing personal. I am not asking for your social security number or your blood type, but I kind of like to know a little bit of personal details about the authors. Are you a waffles or a pancakes person? I want to know. I need that personal connection. Okay, I'm being weird again. Let's move on. Okay, so we're on page 100. So far, so good. I've had a few lines that I've liked. You're noticing the level of emotion in my voice. Then, you know where this is going. I thought I'd be hooked by now. It usually takes me 100 pages to know if I'm gonna like a book or not. It usually takes me the first sentence. Let's go back to the first sentence. Tell me what you think. For the first 6 days of William Waters' life, he was not an only child. That's how the story feels to me. Okay. The way they describe the relationships between these sisters, they're very close. I have a sister. I feel like it's very idealized. I don't know. I'm not very impressed by it. The blurb of the book led us to believe that the main character, William Waters, had a very dark past, very traumatic. It was his fault, everything that happened in his house. And so far, they haven't really gotten into that. They tell us what happens, but I'm guessing that something else happened as well. I'm hoping something else happened because it just doesn't make sense. I don't love the characters either. They're very compartmentalized. I'm having a hard time liking the characters just because they don't seem real to me. I don't know, and I find their problems so silly. They think something is a problem and I don't see the problem. But we're talking about an older generation. So this is the kind of pushback that I've been having with this book. A girl at 17 years old is pregnant and everyone's scandalized. And I'm here like, okay, I get that she's gonna have a different life and her future changes and I get all these things. I don't know if I just don't care for the character. This just feels very basic. I'm trying very hard to care about these types of problems. And then the other character, he's struggling because he doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. He's in college. You'll be okay. And the thing is that you would think that this is written for an older audience, but I'm not young. I don't know. I don't care for it. There, I said it. I don't know what to do with this book, honestly. There was this one line that got me excited on page 5. It says, William had no time for illness now, no time for fear. This felt like the final click of his identity falling into place. I like that. I like lines like that. This is when he was a kid. It feels like a very mature thought for a kid. I was accepting it because this kid was forced to mature fast. So these kind of lines for a kid are a little far-fetched, but the next line that I like, this acceptance calmed some of the fear, which is developing the character in his childhood years. This is a very somber story and it's trying to do a lot, but I don't feel like it's doing anything. And I usually like my books witty and funny within the madness and the chaos. You know, I want to see that human element come into play when someone does something unexpected that just makes everyone else gasp or question their sanity. I don't know. It did have one line that made me giggle. It's when William falls in love with Julia the first time he notices that, okay, I like this girl. And it says, William's body, tired and bored by his hesitant mind, had to set off fireworks in his nerves and muscles to alert him that something of import was taking place. I love this line. This kid, so mature, so grown from a very early age, didn't know what was happening. And his body was telling him, his own body was doing him a favor, like, hey, pay attention, this is you falling in love. This is it, my guy. And so I like how the author described that moment. But that was the only line so far that has made me laugh. So we're just gonna keep reading and hope it gets started. This might be a little anticlimactic, but I finished it. And I wish I could say I liked it. I did not. There is not a single cell in my body that's confused. I just want to say you're welcome because I took the hit for you guys. Let me guide you through the process of reading this book. This is what you should expect. If by page 100 you have not clicked with this book, put it down, walk away, DNF, there's no need. Do not finish the book. Do not waste your precious time. If by page 100 you're just wondering what is happening, what's the point, let it go. I should have, but I'm stubborn like that and I did not. By the time you get to page 200, you understand that the book isn't going to get any better. This is as good as it gets. I made this joke to my friend and I thought that it was very appropriate. If I'm running late to a wedding and the bride doesn't have her something old, her something borrowed, her something blue, and you have one of these at hand, it serves the purpose. And let me tell you why. There's something old. This book, I don't think this was written for people under 50 years old. I think this book was meant for an older generation. People who lived through the 1950s, 1960s, people who remember that time. Because if you did not live through those times, it's not that you're not going to get it. It's not that you won't understand what's happening. It's just that you won't be able to relate. And I feel like this book strongly requires you to relate to that time, to the social structure of everything during that time. The first main problem was a divorce. Two people divorcing each other. That was one of the first main problems. The second world crashing, life-altering moment in this book was someone moving to another city. Another life-altering moment was someone being gay. Another problem that arose, the death of a father that was already old. And these problems, I feel like they enrich a story, but they don't create a provocative story. They supplement the main plot, but they shouldn't be the main plot because I can't see how, and it's sad to say, I can't see how getting a divorce and my mother having a problem with that because it doesn't look good in our community, I don't relate to that. I can't relate to someone being gay and that also being a terrible, terrible thing. We cannot talk about this. I don't see the problem because I can't relate to that time period. And because I cannot relate to that time period when it was an outrage and it was a scandalous thing, I just don't care. I don't care for the problems presented to us in this book because I don't see them as problems. I see them as everyday things. Their father died of a heart attack. It's sad, but then the author never let us create a connection with him. And then she tried to build a connection after he died. And I think she was this pushy with him because he's the one that apparently says, "Hello, beautiful," to his daughters every time he saw them, which I think if he said once or twice in the entire book, I think that's about, and then everyone else just kept saying it, but I don't know. It felt very pushed. That's the something old. It's full of very old ideas, and I just feel like it tries to bring back controversial things that were in the past that us, the newer generation, we have moved away from that and not judging other people by their personal preferences, their sexual identity, things that molds a person, but not their character. And so I'm sort of, I'm a little annoyed by that. So that's the something old. The something borrowed is that this was apparently a homage to Little Women. I've never read Little Women, never. And I knew from page 15 how this story was gonna go. And by page 30, I knew how it was gonna end. And that bothers me because a 400-page book should bring some kind of surprise. Because 400 pages, there's a plot twist in there. There is space for a plot twist, and you won't get one. The story is so streamlined, has been told so many times. You're reading and you're telling yourself, no, the author is not, she's not gonna do this. She's not gonna write this. This has been told so many times, but lo and behold, there it is. And so you keep hoping for the next plot twist, and no, basic. So that's the something borrowed. I feel like everything inside this story was borrowed from someplace else. If you've read any other book, you've read this book. Moving on to something blue. When you see this book cover and you read the book summary, you're expecting this sad young man to find love, and when he finds love, his world is going to explode in color. That doesn't happen. This book's narrative is so depressing. And it's not even sad because it would be sad if you cared. It's not sad, it's just depressing. I took notes, and on page, 103, I wrote the first clever thing that has happened in this story. Page 103, do not expect anything before page 103. And then on 104, second smart thing that has happened in this story, still the same character. This character was pulling her weight for the book. She was doing her thing, Cecilia. So there's so many missed opportunities for great scenes in this book. And she was so focused on the sisters at this point that she missed such a great opportunity to develop a scene that would have been heartwarming and heart-wrenching, and she just let it pass. But no one could track William down right away. William is our main character, and he's the father of the child Julia's having. It took 30 minutes before he was found in the university gym, and then he ran, despite his bad knee, to the corner of the northwestern campus where it was possible to find a cab. That was it. Sylvie abandoned her desk at the library. Emmeline had been, so she goes straight back to the sisters. You're telling me that this man that had to leave basketball, that every time he walked, that knee hurt, that he couldn't even stand for a long period of time. You're telling me that this man ran, and that's all you're telling me of this scene? Like, that is like he was missing, they found him, he ran. I would have loved to go with him on that run towards the hospital. I wanted to know what was going through his mind. I wanted to know that he just wasn't even thinking about anything in his physical body because he was too distracted, too happy, too elated. It's just I wanted more from this scene, and we just don't get it. And the author does this multiple times throughout the book. She decides to describe and focus on scenes that really don't add anything to the story. They don't contribute to moving the story forward. They don't contribute to character development. They do nothing for the story, and she insists on describing these scenes that just don't matter. And then the ones that truly matter, she just skips through them. And that to me was so annoying. The only good thing that I have to say about this book is that, you know how people tend to write what they know? You could tell that this author knows about motherly love. She described it in such a beautiful way. Mothers taking care of their children, nurturing them, and that relationship between mother and daughter and aunts and their nieces. I loved those moments in the book, those descriptions. It was the only tender thing about this book, the only thing that actually made me feel something while reading this book. That was the only thing. I don't know, guys. I wanted to like this book until page 206. That's the last sticky note that I placed. And then the rest of the book is just blank. This book didn't need to be 400 pages long. This book could have been 200 pages, easy, and it would have been the same book. You would have taken nothing from this book. This book was trying so hard to perform, and it felt so flat. Honestly, I just wanted to prescribe it Cialis because it was just not doing anything for us. When I read this blurb, I was expecting a different kind of story. And when I read the book, I'm like, wait, isn't this supposed to be about something else? No. The way that this is phrased, it lets us understand that a different character or a past action is going to come back into the story and mess things up. And that is not what happens. This is a book that touches on triggering themes like suicide and depression. That is the darkness from William's past that comes back. And that is also the other main problem, like the main catastrophe in this book, is someone that's depressed. But the way that the author goes into it, it's just very strange because when he attempts suicide, no one expected it, not even the reader. But even us, the readers, weren't able to be there as it developed inside him. And then when the author sort of tries to make us follow the character through this very depressive moment, we're more confused than anything else. This seems like a book I would use for punishment. If somebody behaved badly, they had to be locked inside a library, I would only put books like these to add to the punishment. I would take out all the good books I would put this one in. This book felt like punishment to me, and self-imposed punishment. Why? Honestly, the only thing going through my mind while I was grinding through the last 200 pages of this book was you guys. If I wasn't doing this for you guys, I wouldn't have finished this book. 100% sure that I did not like this book, and it's so sad. I feel like I invested $28 in this beautiful book cover, this beautiful art, and I am going to continue thinking about this book like this. It's an investment on this beautiful piece that I can now exhibit in my library. And that's it. This book is only gonna look pretty in my shelves from now on. So that's gonna be all for today. I am sorry that this rant took so long. If you liked this rant video and you liked seeing me fume, go right ahead and drop a like. And if you haven't joined our book family yet and would like to continue watching more of my videos, go ahead and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one.